Hello there, and I'm back with the fifth tip on how to build your self-confidence. And the fifth tip is admit your mistakes. Self-confident people not only admit their mistakes, but they learn from them. They admit their mistakes because they know that doing so will not diminish their power. They have faith in themselves and they know that acknowledging a mistake is not going to tarnish their reputation in front of others. If you want to be confident, start admitting your mistakes. Have the strength and courage to admit your mistakes. If you're not able to do so, find out what is the reason behind that. Why you are not ready to accept your mistakes, why you are not ready to admit your mistakes, what is troubling you from inside. If you understand all these questions, it will be easy for you to know the exact reason that why you are not ready to admit your mistakes. Research suggests that those who don't admit their mistakes have deep-seated insecurities. They feel that they become vulnerable to mockery when they admit their mistake. Whether it is a major breach or a minor mess up, accept your mistake, admit your mistake, acknowledge your mistake, confess your mistake. Simply admit that you are wrong. Use your inner strength, your guts to acknowledge that mistake. Don't feel dejected if someone tries to point out your mistake or if someone tells you that there is a mistake. Accept it in a very graceful way. Instead of playing hide and seek with your senior or with your boss, just plainly accept that yes, there was a mistake and I'm sorry for that. Confess it. Remember, we cannot not make mistakes. There are bound to be slip-ups, blunders, errors, mistakes. Admit it. No one can be infallible. Self-confident people accept their wrongdoings because they don't need any kind of approval from others to feel secure and strong from inside. See, if you're a perfectionist to the core, still mistakes are going to happen. So learn to harness your desire to cover them or put the blame on others. Just to explain, I'll take the example of Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Apple Computers, who said, sometimes when you innovate, you make mistakes. It is best to admit them quickly and get on with your other innovations. And Steve Jobs did what he said. A very good example of this is Next Computers, which was initially targeted to the higher education market. But when Jobs understood that even after many years, Next Computers was not performing well, he decided to change his business plan and turned Next into a software-only company. In a way, he admitted his mistake of building a personal computer that was well ahead of its time. Due to this acceptance and the change which was made, Next started making profits, and in 3 years, Apple acquired Next and Jobs returned to run Apple Computers again. So remember what Dennis Waitley said, mistakes are painful when they happen, but years later, a collection of mistakes is what is called experience. So let me tell you 4 different ways with the help of which you will be able to accept mistakes gracefully and still go on with life in a confident manner. The first one is take mistake as a valuable learning opportunity. When you look at mistake from the point of view of a learning opportunity. There's a learning opportunity hidden in every mistake which we commit. Correct yourself, learn from your mistake. It is always a lesson learned from mistakes. When you admit your mistake, you're least likely to repeat the same mistake again in your life. So if you don't want to repeat the same mistakes, it's always better to take mistakes as a learning opportunity, learn from them, and then go on with your life. The second thing is, don't feel weak when you admit your mistake. Remember, you're not weak when you're admitting your mistake. In fact, you are looked at as a person who has strong character, who's courageous, who's bold. People will think that you are more relatable, open, authentic. People who think that admitting their mistakes will show them as weak. They're already weak from inside. So there's no need for you to think that if you admit your mistakes, then you will be looked at as a weak person. In fact, people will look up to you. People will appreciate your strength of character. People will be able to relate to you more. People will be able to appreciate your openness, your authenticity. You will be looked at as an authentic person if you accept your mistakes. So be a leader, accept your mistakes, and go ahead. Number 3 thing to keep in mind is everyone commits mistakes. You're not the only one who's going to commit mistakes, whether advertently or inadvertently, knowingly or unknowingly. Candid admission of one's mistakes is what matters the most, and self-confident people know this, and that is why they are very open to accept their mistakes, and they know that everyone makes mistakes and they are one of them, and that is why they don't struggle to admit their mistakes, and they take the ownership of their mistakes. The 4th thing to remember is avoid being a blame shifter. It is a visceral reaction of all of us to shift the blame of our mistakes on someone else. Don't shift the blame of your mistakes on anyone. By doing so, you might think that you have saved your face. You'll be able to save your skin for a day by blame shifting, but you will dent your confidence for a lifetime. So stop blaming others for your mistakes. So stop the blame game and play the game that confident people play. So remember, to err is human and to admit it is superhuman. And that's why go ahead, make new mistakes every day, feel sorry, admit your mistakes, and be self-confident.